Hey TechKnowStuds! In this video, we're going to cover what a block and blockchain is. So in our last video, we talked about hashes. Now let's see how we actually use hashes to create a blockchain. When it comes to blockchain, this is a simple visual of what a block looks like. The block is just a set of data and the hash associated with that. So first of all, we have the block number, so we can order this. We have the previous hash, which we will get into here in a second. And then we have the data. What type of data? Well, this type of data that we put in here is whatever you want to keep a record of. So we're going to have whatever data that we want to put into that. And then all of this information then gets compiled into that hash. It gets put into the algorithm to create a unique fingerprint for that set of data. A blockchain is just a set of these different blocks. And so with this blockchain, we're going to keep track of some sort of data as we go along. An example of this is it could be keeping track of some sort of ledger or some sort of transactions that are happening, some sort of debit and credits that are happening like it happens with cryptocurrency. So we have this data that we're tracking within here. We're going to put the data into this block, and then we're going to use this to create a hash out of it. Well, what that happens is that hash then goes into this next block right here, block number 2. We have a different set of data that's going into here. All this information gets compiled into the new hash, and then that goes into the next block. So we see that right here. Then this data gets entered into this data box here. It gets hashed again, and we create a new hash for it. This is what's called the chain. This is the blockchain that we are creating with this. So here's where the real power comes in with blockchain, is we have now integrity. That is, I can't go back and change one thing without having to change everything from that point on. So what I mean by that is, let's say we go back to block 1 and change something in this data right here. We're going to go in and let's say we're going to change the date of birth just by a day. Well, as we mentioned, that means that hash completely changes. So if I were to go back and recalculate the hash for this, and it's different from this block right here, I would know that the data is no longer has integrity, that something has changed along the way. For somebody to cover up their tracks, what they would have to do is they would have to recalculate the hash and change that in that block. But not only that block, but every other block as well, because that is found in the next block and is used to calculate the next hash. And that hash is used in the next block and used to calculate this next hash. So I either make it blatantly obvious that something has changed in one of these blocks, or I have to go back and recalculate all of the blocks from then on, and then that causes other problems. So you're going to see that this data has changed. And so that is where the integrity comes in when it comes to blockchain.